Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into the wild unknown of human resilience. We're talking about the most unbelievable escapes from deadly situations, moments where hope hangs by a thread, where the will to survive is tested to its absolute limit. You won't believe how these individuals manage to stare death in the face and come out on top. Get ready for your heart to race, your palms to sweat. Stay tuned. Picture this. Dense, unforgiving jungle, the air thick with humidity, the scent of decay heavy in your nostrils. This is where our story begins, with a man named Survivor's Name. The sole survivor of a plane crash in the heart of the Amazon. The impact throws him from his seat, the world a blur of twisted metal and searing pain. Disoriented, he stumbles from the wreckage, the smell of aviation fuel stinging his lungs. Every instinct screams at him to run, to put distance between himself and the burning wreckage. But Survivor's Name knows panic is a killer in this environment. He takes stock of his injuries, a broken leg throbbing in agony. He fashions a makeshift splint from the wreckage, using vines found on the jungle floor. Days bleed into nights. The jungle canopy blocks out the sun, the air thick with the drone of insects. Hunger gnaws at his stomach, thirst a constant ache in his throat. He scavenges for edible plants, relying on his limited knowledge of the rainforest. He knows the dangers lurking here, jaguars, poisonous snakes and insects that can kill with a single bite, but he never gives up hope. Using the wreckage as a landmark, he navigates through the dense undergrowth, battling exhaustion and despair. Days turn into a week, his body pushed to the brink. Just when his resolve begins to falter, he stumbles upon a faint sound, the murmur of running water. The river becomes his lifeline. He follows its course, knowing that where there's water, there's a chance of finding people. His body, battered and broken, is running on fumes, but the thought of rescue keeps him going. Then, on the 10th day, a flicker of light through the trees. A small village nestled on the riverbank. He cries out, his voice hoarse from disuse. The villagers find him, a skeletal figure on the edge of death. He is safe, against all odds. The vast, unforgiving ocean. Miles of churning water in every direction. The horizon an endless blue. This is where we find our next survivor, a young woman named Survivor's Name, clinging to a piece of driftwood. Her ship, caught in a sudden, violent storm, had been swallowed by the waves, taking with it the lives of all those on board, or so they thought. The storm had hit without warning, transforming the calm sea into a raging monster. The ship, tossed about like a toy, had capsized in a matter of minutes. The force of the waves had ripped Survivor's Name from the deck, flinging her into the churning water. Disoriented, struggling to breathe, she had surfaced amidst the wreckage. The storm raged around her, but through the driving rain and howling wind she had spotted it, a piece of the ship's mast, bobbing in the waves. Summoning every ounce of strength, she had kicked towards it, her lungs burning for air. Now, days later, the storm had passed, leaving behind an eerie calm. The sun beat down on her blistered skin, thirst a constant torment. She rationed the few crackers she had managed to salvage, her stomach cramping with hunger. But the worst enemy was not the hunger, nor the thirst, but the crushing loneliness. Surrounded by miles of empty ocean, she felt utterly alone, a tiny speck of humanity swallowed by the vastness of the sea. She talked to herself, sang songs, anything to keep her mind from slipping into despair. She thought of her family, her friends, their faces a beacon of hope in the darkness. She refused to give up, clinging to life with a ferocity born of desperation. Then on the 5th day, a glint of silver on the horizon, a ship growing larger with each passing minute. She waved her arms, screaming until her voice was hoarse. The ship changed course, drawing closer. She had been spotted, rescued from the jaws of death by a sliver of luck and an iron will to live. Imagine the crushing weight of a mountain, the suffocating darkness, the cold, unyielding rock pressing down on you. This was the reality for Survivor's Name, a seasoned hiker caught in a freak rock slide. One minute he was admiring the breathtaking view from a mountain trail, the next he was pinned beneath a boulder, the world reduced to a space the size of his own coffin. The initial impact had knocked the breath from his lungs. He lay there gasping for air, his ears ringing with the echo of falling rock. As the dust settled, the terrifying reality sunk in. He was trapped. The boulder, dislodged from the mountainside above, had pinned his legs, the pain excruciating. Panic surged through him, threatening to overwhelm him. but he knew panic would consume precious oxygen, hasten his demise. He forced himself to breathe slowly, to assess his situation. He had some space, enough to move his upper body. He had a small amount of water in his backpack and a few energy bars. But most importantly, he had hope. Days turned into an agonizing blur. The pain in his legs was constant, a searing reminder of his predicament. He rationed his food and water, knowing that they were his only lifeline. He told himself stories, recited poetry, anything to keep his mind occupied, to stave off the despair that threatened to consume him. He thought of his family, his friends, the life he refused to let go of. He imagined their faces, their voices, drawing strength from their memory. He would survive this, he told himself. He had to. Meanwhile, above ground, a desperate search was underway. Rescue teams scoured the mountainside, their hopes dwindling with each passing hour. Just as they were about to call off the search, a faint sound reached them, a rhythmic tapping coming from beneath the rubble. Survivor's name, using a rock he had managed to pry loose, had been tapping on the metal frame of his backpack, sending a desperate SOS echoing through the mountain. The rescuers dug frantically, their efforts infused with renewed hope. After hours of painstaking work, they reached him, a pale, emaciated figure, but alive. The majestic beauty of snow-capped peaks can be deceptive, hiding within their frozen heart a power that can obliterate in an instant. Survivor's name, an experienced climber, knew this better than most, but even he couldn't outrun the fury of the mountain that day. He had been ascending a challenging ice wall when he heard the ominous crack. He glanced up to see a wall of white thundering down the mountainside towards him. There was no time to outrun it, no time for anything but instinct. He drove his ice axe into the slope and braced himself for the impact. The avalanche slammed into him with the force of a freight train, the world exploding in a blinding whiteout. He was swept off his feet, tumbled head over heels, his body battered against the unforgiving ice and rock. He fought to keep his head above the surface, but the churning snow was relentless, pulling him down. Then, as quickly as it began, it was over. The avalanche deposited him at the base of the mountain, buried beneath tons of snow. He lay there, dazed, his body screaming in protest. He was alive, but trapped. He knew his only chance was to create an air pocket before the snow solidified around him. With a Herculean effort, he punched upwards, creating a small space around his face. He took stock of his situation. He was injured, his leg twisted at an unnatural angle, the pain blinding. He remembered his avalanche training, the importance of remaining calm, of conserving energy. He knew that time was his enemy, hypothermia a constant threat. He used his remaining strength to push snow into his backpack, creating a makeshift pillow to insulate him from the cold. He drifted in and out of consciousness, his mind playing tricks on him, but through it all, a single thought burned bright: he would survive. He had to. Days later, a rescue team, alerted by his abandoned base camp, located him using transceivers. He was weak, dehydrated, his body ravaged by the ordeal. But he was alive, another testament to the indomitable spirit of survival. The underwater world is a realm of breathtaking beauty, but also of hidden dangers. Survivor's name, an experienced diver, knew this all too well, but nothing could have prepared him for the primal terror of a shark attack. He had been exploring a coral reef, mesmerized by the vibrant marine life when he felt a presence in the water behind him. He turned, his blood turning to ice. A great white shark, massive and powerful, circled him, its cold black eyes fixed on him. Panic surged through him, the instinctive fear of predator and prey. But he fought it down, knowing that panic would be his undoing. He remembered his training, the importance of remaining calm, of not provoking the shark. But the shark was already agitated, drawn by the scent of blood from a small cut on his hand. It lunged its jaws wide open, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. He raised his arms instinctively, the shark's teeth sinking into his diving gear instead of his flesh. He was flung through the water, the force of the impact knocking the air from his lungs. He struggled to regain his balance, to get his bearings. The shark circled again, its body a blur of gray muscle in the blue water. He knew he had to act fast. He grabbed his dive knife, the metal glinting in the water. The shark lunged again, and this time he was ready. He thrust the knife upwards, his heart pounding in his chest. The shark, wounded, thrashed wildly, the water turning red with blood. It disappeared into the depths, leaving Survivor's name shaken but alive. He surfaced slowly, his body trembling with adrenaline and relief. He had stared into the jaws of death and lived to tell the tale. These stories are a testament to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Each survivor faced unimaginable challenges, their courage and determination pushed to the brink. But they never gave up hope. They never stopped fighting for their lives. These are more than just tales of survival. They are powerful reminders that even in the darkest of moments, even when all hope seems lost, the human spirit can overcome incredible odds. So the next time you face a challenge, remember these stories. Dig deep, find your inner strength, and never, ever give up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible stories of survival. See you next time.